I'm here with Nick. This should be a good one. Nick's always quite forthright with his opinions.
Yep.
So listen, Arsenal got through to the next stage of the Champions League, beaten Girona away from home, 2-1, qualified for the next stage, as I said, finished third in the table, which is very commendable. But listen, I want your opinions on the game and what you saw tonight.
On the game specifically, I do feel like we scraped by. I know we disagreed about this, but it was
really scraped.
It was 2-1. And it was a penalty from that Thomas Partey got, where he arguably shouldn't really be in that part of the pitch in the first place. And it was a wonder goal by Ethan Nwaneri. And we both had chances. It was a bit of a straight shootout. That game played 3 or 4 times over, ends 3 or 4 different ways. That could end in a draw. That could end in them winning. That could end in us winning. Today we got the win.
If I could cut you there, I must say I didn't quite see it like that. Listen, it was a competitive game, perhaps maybe more competitive than it should have been.
Yeah.
However, I don't know if I would say we scraped through. I think that there was a clear separation between the two teams.
We were the far better team, but in the last month or two, so let's go back to the beginning of December, we've been the far better team in probably every game, and not every time we're the better team does that equate to us winning the game. And sometimes we drop points in silly games like that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that's what makes it feel like maybe it's not accurate, but it feels like we've got through by the skin of our teeth, even though, you can look at the stats and say we had more of the ball, we had more shots, we had more crosses, the corners, etc. But the reality is it was a lot closer than it probably should have been. However, where I am positive is we've gone through third. Liverpool are having an unbelievable season. Barcelona, we know how good they are. And the two teams that have gone through above us have a history of great Champions League campaigns and knowing how to do this, right? We're a bit junior to them in that regard, and we obviously are having a bit of an injury-stricken season. So to go through third behind just those two teams is really positive overall. Today, like I said, I do feel like we scraped by, but the overall Champions League campaign so far has been good.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because you may have seen the interview I did earlier with Turkish. Me and him was, I was trying to get him to, give his thoughts, and he was pretty, how can I put it, underwhelmed by the fact that we come third. We finished third in the table. A lot of people didn't see that coming. In fact, maybe I didn't. When you consider some of the teams that are in the tournament, which, as you say, have a history and a real Champions League pedigree behind them. We've not played this for a couple of years. And so coming into this year, to say that we finished third at the end of the first stages, I think it's good, right?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Liverpool, Barcelona, Madrid, they're teams that you go in every year, and if provided Liverpool were in the Champions League that particular year, they're always up there with favourites. Man City, they've won it once, but they've won it in recent years, so they'll be up there in that conversation as well. So,
and they struggled.
And they struggled. And so for us to be where we are, listen, it's not terrible. That being said, this is where we would have expected us to be. Don't get me wrong, at the beginning of the season, because Saka's out injured, Ben White's out injured, Jesus out injured. We have to get through a slightly different way. We're relying on Havertz as our sole striker. So it's a little bit touch and go. But with a fully fit team, this is very much what would be expected for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go back to today's game then. We went 1-0 down, and that was disappointing, especially when you consider that at the time it was totally against a run of play. Now, you had some fairly strong comments about the keeper in terms of that first goal. Tell the people what you thought about it or what went wrong.
I feel what everybody else feels. The keeper was awful. The keeper was absolutely awful. We saw it on the stream. He's, we often use this term about goalkeepers. He's in no man's land. And normally what they mean is the keeper's put himself in a bad position where he can easily get beat. No, this keeper was in no man's land, like World War II getting shot by the Nazis, like no man's land. Like he literally, he's gone to dive to make a save, and he's in a part of the pitch where he can't touch the ball. If he touches the ball with his hand, that's a red card.
He was actually lucky that he didn't get a hand to it.
Lucky that he didn't. I don't know if he pulled his hand away from it last minute and actually let it go in, or if he genuinely made an attempt for it. But you can't, as a manager, you can't coach for that. That is the most no man's land situation I've ever seen in my life. This is still a professional goalkeeper. He's been at clubs like Juventus. He's been in Champions League campaigns before. Granted, he's not match fit, but this is really, really basic. Really basic. And I know he's cup tied for some other cup tournaments, but this is potential stuff like that may well be why we're not seeing him more, even in sort of dead rubber games, as you would call it, because that was awful. And then you had the situation with the kick out.
Stop you 1 second there. With the penalty, with the first goal.
The goal we conceded, yeah.
Do you not think that he wasn't helped out by Partey, whose positioning for that attack was, let's face it, he didn't look behind him. He didn't have the spatial awareness to look look across his line and see that there was a player challenging for the ball. He just seemed to let him run past him.
Partey's been our best midfielder this season, but he's a poor right back. He's cost us points before. He's cost us goals. He cost us points. Cost us 2 points against Aston Villa. He's a poor right back. He's been a poor right back, and every time the manager makes the decision to put him at right back, that's what's going to happen. You know, we had 5 defenders, 4 natural defenders in Miles Lewis-Skelly on the bench. You might be better putting someone there that, okay, they're on the wrong foot. Kivior was on the wrong foot today. You might be better putting somebody who's on the wrong foot, but you've got someone who's a natural defender. That, to me, makes more sense than not only putting Partey at right back, who has cost us on several occasions, but is actually the best midfield performance that we've, the best performing midfielder that we've seen across the entire season. Rice has played well last couple of weeks. Ødegaard's been sort of up and down, but across the whole season, Partey's been really, really solid. So you're taking that talent out of midfield and really sacrificing both the midfield and the defence at the same time. I just can't really understand it.
No, you know what? I'm in full agreement with that. I was saying before the game started, I didn't want to see Partey at right back, and he's at right back and he makes another mistake. It's not really fair on him, to be honest, because he's not really a right back. But hey, listen, he's doing a job for the team, so you have to commend that. But we get equal. Penalty, Jorginho. Was you a little bit surprised that Ødegaard never took the penalty?
No, because I think that Jorginho, I've heard you have this conversation with Frank, I think it was. I think Jorginho is the better penalty taker. He has a longer track record. The reason that he's not the dedicated penalty taker is because he's not a dedicated starter. So that's why you have to have Ødegaard or Saka as a dedicated. I think Saka might be the dedicated penalty taker, no?
Yeah, I think Saka would normally be designated rather than dedicated.
Yeah,
but yeah, I hear what you're
penalty
saying.
taker. Then it deputises to Ødegaard because he's got to be in the team week in, week out.
Well, he is the captain.
Yeah, but captain and taking penalties they're not necessarily synonymous. Not all captains take penalties.
No, what I'm saying is he's the captain and he's the designated penalty taker, I believe. Maybe it's different now. I don't know. I mean, he missed the last one against Man City. Incidentally, Jorginho was playing in that game.
Against Man United.
Man United, sorry. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. But I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah.
That he never took the penalty. But hey, listen, man, it worked out. I mean, Jorginho, I think his record in Champions League games is spotless. So
all I care about is that it goes in.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm not really too fast. But the second one, which I imagine is where you were.
Well, I was leading to that.
The second one is just a travesty. I mean, you know, some of my.
No, actually, the second goal. Let's talk about the second goal.
I mean, the second goal is unbelievable. You know, it's you know, to have Saka come out of the academy and do what he did, and then to have him be injured and have another 17-year-old coming out of the academy and do what they did. You know, people are comparing Nwaneri and Saka. Nwaneri's got a little bit more consistency to show. I think when Saka was 17, it was 15 GA in that season. I think Nwaneri's on 6 at the moment. So he's in that mould. And what we can see with Saka is the trajectory that Nwaneri could potentially be on, because let's be honest, if Saka were to leave in the summer, he wouldn't be going down. He would be going upwards in the kind of football pyramid, if you like. So, yeah, really, really positive from him. And he's always positive. He always just doesn't overcomplicate the game and looks for goal. He's the ball. He's a real out and out attacker. He just looks forwards. He has no interest. One of the things we complain about is Trossard getting to the byline and passing it back. Marino passed it back. Declan Rice passed it back. He's got no interest in passing it back. He's going to the goal. He's going to the goal. You're going to have to foul him, tackle him, rip the ball off him because he's going to the goal. And that's what you want to see from your young players. Absolutely.
He's our most direct and dynamic player, if you ask me. Like you said, fearless, got an eye for goal, wants to score, wants to shoot. You know what I mean? I love it because there are a few too many players in the team that did exactly what you just said. Check back, look for the pass. It's all part of this control football. Yeah. It's good to see that we've got somebody that's willing to take it on, as I say, and go for goal. And today I thought he was outstanding. I don't know if you agree with me. I thought he was man of the match.
Yeah, I think between him and Jorginho, I think they were probably the two standouts. Yeah, across
I thought he was going to go for Neto.
Yeah.
Or even Sterling. Let's talk about Sterling, man, because me and you were going back and forth on the stream. And listen, for me, I seen Raheem Sterling as a young kid burst into that.
I don't care about any of this. I don't care about any of this. Why are you telling me?
Let me land.
No, bro.
Let me land.
You're telling me about when have we ever signed a player that's performed badly and you started telling me about the player's previous CV? When?
I was chatting to you about Mourinho. You were dissing Mourinho, and I'm saying that, listen, give him a pre-season.
If we signed Willian, when we signed Willian and Willian was bad, were you telling me what he did at Chelsea? Why are you telling me what he did at Chelsea and what he did at Liverpool or City?
I'm saying that when he started, I can remember, I'm old enough to remember when he first comes, a little 16-year-old youth, and I thought, wow, what a player. And okay, he's had his trials and tribulations. He's come to Arsenal. listen, a lot of people doubted the signing. I was hopeful that we would get something out of him.
We were all hopeful.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is, it's kind of sad to see him decline before our very eyes. That's the point I'm making.
I don't think we are seeing him decline before our very eyes in an Arsenal shirt. He'd already declined. He was in a struggling Chelsea team and he couldn't get into the team. Granted, they changed the system. They wanted to go for young players and all the rest of it. The strategy was different. But if you can't, you were already showing that, okay, they didn't even think he was valuable enough to keep him in the squad, be a leader, etc., etc. Something that Jack spoke about. Maybe he could come in and lead the youngsters, whatever. Chelsea didn't see him as that. He could have been that for a Sancho, both young guys from London. He could have been that for Madueke. They didn't see him with that ability. So why would we see him with that ability? He doesn't have the footballing ability and he doesn't have the leadership qualities. So it was, other than pure hope or Jamaican bias from certain people. I
am biased. I wanted to see him do well.
We all want to see him do well.
You can't kill me for that.
No, we all want to see him do well.
It's like Mourinho. Like, you've been very vociferous. You're saying Mourinho not good enough, and I'm saying, listen, give him a pre-season. Is that a Jamaican tax? Last time I checked, Mourinho's Spanish.
Yeah, but when I'm talking about Mourinho, I'm putting that on Arteta and that. Do you know what I'm saying? We're going into this season, forget about the injuries and all the rest of it. Going into the beginning of the season, we felt that this is our year to win the league. Do you know what I mean? Like, we felt that, or at least we're going to be battling with City to win the league. Us, Liverpool, City, we're all going to be in that conversation. We want to be bringing in players that bring us closer to winning the league, and we're not doing that. I don't care where they're from. I don't care their CV. I don't care what country they're from. I don't care. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not judging players before they get into an Arsenal shirt. If we go and sign Isak, I'm not like, yeah, we've won the league. I'm waiting to see what he does in an Arsenal shirt. And then I'm going to judge after that. Do you know what I mean? All the predicting stuff is irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? Because I support Arsenal. I don't support, well, I was going to say I don't support Jamaica. Raheem's not even playing for Jamaica, plays for England, you donut. But like, I don't care about what they've done previously. Do you know what I'm saying?
Listen, less of the personal attacks.
What they've done is what they've done in an Arsenal shirt that I care about. And that's it.
No, you're right. All I'm saying is it's kind of sad to see his decline at Arsenal. That's all I'm saying. I know you're saying that Chelsea declined. Fine.
It was to be expected. It's not like we signed him and he was brilliant. If Saka comes back from his injury and starts declining,
if he was brilliant, we wouldn't have got him. I'm saying that, listen, he's obviously declined. I said to you on the stream that when we played against Tottenham, the way Jed Spence owned him, I kind of thought that was it. And then see today, they gave him a sympathy penalty and he didn't convert it, obviously. It was just a bad night.
Someone of Raheem Sterling's CV, if we're going off the back of that, I don't think should need a penalty to get him back on his confidence.
You're right.
Havertz has always been a confidence player. He's always been up and down. He's never been, Raheem Sterling was at one point the starting name for England, him and Harry Kane. This the main goal scorer for Man City alongside Aguero. Like he was of that cloth. Havertz has never been that cloth. Raheem Sterling was right at the peak of that.
And that's why I said what I said.
To need a penalty to get your confidence back and he's a loan signing. Like why are we potentially sacrificing the confidence of other players that are here on a permanent basis for a player that's only here for a few more months? The whole thing made no sense to me.
Okay, I hear you. But anyway, we're the upshot of it is, and the positive things, we're through to the next stage of the Champions League. I don't know who we could get.
Milan, I think there's 2 Dutch teams in there. PSV, there's another Juve, PSV, Juve, Milan, and I can't remember the fourth one, but yeah.
I was saying to Turkish, and he almost refused to flat out answer me, but in terms of the football that we're playing, I think it's actually more suited to the Champions League than the Premier League. Do you agree, and do you think we can go on and make a serious challenge?
The problem I have with that statement is I've made that same statement for the last 2 years, but our manager is, you're right, what you're saying is right. We struggle with consistency, so you actually back us maybe more.
I was more talking in terms of the way we play, like the controlled possession, the build-up and stuff like that.
I don't know.
The very structured way we play actually works better for me in the Champions League.
I think that works better in a league. For me personally, going out there, being attacking and smashing teams 4 or 5 goals quickly, that makes more sense to me. And we sometimes set up for games where we look to control the game. And then we sometimes set up for games where we just look to score goals. Like when we played against Aston Villa, we looked like we sacrificed controlling the game and we just wanted to score goals. And then actually once we tried to control the game, that's when we started to lose. In the last couple of seasons, I felt that we were more set up for winning Champions League campaigns rather than leagues because of that consistency. But we failed to do it. And the manager's performance in cup campaigns across the board has been poor, including 2 domestic cups this year. So the style of football that makes sense, but Mikel Arteta's actual performance in cup competition has been poor, and he has a poor track record in the Champions League when he gets to knockout stages.
Okay, and just very quickly, because time's running, projecting forward, massive game on Sunday against Man City. How do you see that going?
If we can just be sensible and start with Martinelli on the left. I know that Kyle Walker's not there anymore, but Martinelli normally plays well against City and Liverpool. His legs are really essential, both defensively and pushing them back. Start with Ethan Nwaneri on the right. I know he's young, but he deserves it. Start with Timber at right back and not Partey, put Partey back in midfield. If we just do the simple things that we should do, I fancy us to win the game. I think it's a very winnable game for us.
Nice to end on a positive note. Thanks.
There you go.
Cheers.